All of the hype, advertising, and information is being released for 2K18. So I'm going to take a look at the WWE 2K17 roster to see who we will, may not, and probably won't see in WWE 2K18. Not a huge list of names who I think are objectionable or will be not featured in 2K18. I'll look through the inbuilt roster, those who were featured in game, and the DLC to see who we will see. I think a lot of them will be just simply transferred to WWE 2K18, although, of course, with realism being such a key phrase, I think they certainly should be concentrating on the current contemporary roster of WWE, whether it be Raw, SmackDown, NXT, 205 Live, whatever program it is. I think they should concentrate on the modern WWE male and female wrestlers. So going through the list, I'll try and go through it fairly quickly. I don't need to show the models for each wrestler because everybody knows what they look like, having played the game. Aiden English and AJ Styles will obviously be in the game. Alberto is most likely not to be in the game, now working for Global Force, although today suspended for this alleged incident or whatever is going on between him and Paige. So he is certainly not going to be in the game. Alexa Bliss, Alicia Fox, all these. When it comes to the legends, I'll kind of ignore them because it depends on who signs the contracts for them and what contracts that they've signed. I think a lot of them will see. I would like to see a cut down on the legends, and as I said, feature more of the contemporary modern day roster of WWE. There are not a lot of names there. The usuals: Becky Lynch, Big Cass, Big E, Big Show that we'll see. Billy Gunn may very well disappear from the game, now working independent, including New Japan Pro Wrestling. I think he's most likely to disappear from the WWE video games and not feature in 2K18. Not a huge, again, flicking through them fairly quickly. Bubba Ray Dudley is one I'm not entirely sure about. I think he may very well disappear along with Devon. It entirely depends on the contracts. He's now working for Ring of Honor. I can see him and Devon, who is now I think it's a SmackDown producer, certainly working backstage as a producer for WWE. I think he and Bubba Ray may very well disappear and not be in WWE 2K18. Not again the usual crowd. Chris Jericho's Christian may disappear along with Edge. I'm not entirely sure. The usual Daniel Bryan, I would imagine he would be a playable character because he is the general manager of SmackDown, so I cannot see him not really being included in the game. Diego, obviously, they may very well be included in this. I think it's the largest roster by far of any WWE video game. They said that for the last few years, and the roster has increased over the last few years. They are now known as, of course, as the Colognes. I'm not entirely sure which one it is that is injured. There were reports that they had asked for their release. Whether they will stay just until whoever it is has been injured is recovered, so they can receive a paycheck and then leave the company, I'm unsure. We may very well see them, if they are in the game, as the Shining Stars, because I think that may have been their gimmick when the roster was kind of locked down. I'd be a little bit surprised if they were featured as the Clones, but it entirely depends on what changes that they're able to make to the game at this stage. Again, not many people. Eva Marie, I believe, is left, so she'll disappear from the game. Again, there's Fernando. I'm not sure which one of them is injured, but there's not a huge list of people with any problem in the game. As I quickly flick through them. Lita, I believe, will be available to be in the game. Again, legends, it depends, but she's now a color commentator for the Mae Young Classic, and it was Kaylee Ray and Aisha Ray that were announced for the Mae Young Classic today, so that is great to see. There's not a lot of people. Again, with Paige, I believe will probably not be in W2K18. She's been off TV for at least a year or so. I think she was already off a couple of months from TV when this game was released. But I can't see her being in 2K18. Again, not very many names that you can really... the usuals, the Rusev, Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe, Sasha Banks, Scott Dawson's will be in the game mostly. Again, as I said, the modern roster of WWE. Simon Gotch, he won't most likely be in the game. It depends on whether he left in time to be removed from the game. Again, it is weird, but it all comes down to contractual things. But they have released people. They have released or people have left all the time for WWE games, whether it be just before or just after the game, and they've been included or removed. It depends on the timelines. Stardust, aka Cody Rhodes, aka Cody. Obviously, he will not be in WWE 2K18. He's left for a good while now. I saw him here in Dundee last December, so he will certainly not be in the game, which is a real pity. But that is what the Creation Suite is for. If any of these superstars are removed, or there's another wrestler in another company, and I keep saying it, but that is what the Create a Wrestler aspect of the game is for. Creating, whether it be Cody's, whether it be the Tanahashis, the Michael Elgins, the whoever it is, the Kenny Omegas of the world. That's where you can include them in the video game and have those dream matches. Again, there are not many people, that not really anybody that I think we won't see. Tyson Kidd, I'm not entirely sure, because obviously his wrestling days, I believe, are over. Very lucky just to survive the Muscle Buster incident. He's reportedly being transferred to a non-wrestling role, obviously. Some role involved in the company, which I'd like to see. I'd like to see him lend his knowledge. They have to have a next generation of producers, agents, whatever the role is backstage. There are many various roles in WWE, not just producers. So I'd like to see them bring along a next generation of those guys. Tyson Kidd, I'm not entirely sure. I think he may not be in WWE 2K18. Again, the last names are probably obviously Xavier Woods, Zack Ryder, and that is the inbuilt roster. I'll take a look at the DLC. There's not many I can really pick out from the DLC. There's not a huge amount of people to really discuss. Matt Bloom, Matt Bloom is his name, head coach, head trainer at NXT, the Performance Center. I'd actually like to see Johnny Saint being involved in the game. He's been in WWE for the last 6 months. He's just left as a stint as a coach there. Can't see it happening, unfortunately. Would be great. It'd be a great surprise for UK wrestling fans, but unfortunately I can't see that happening. Matt Bloom might be involved somehow. Apollo Crews, in the DLCs there's a few people that will be involved in the game, in the roster, because of their standing now in the main roster. Apollo Crews is one of them. Austin Aries has just left WWE, however that went down, whatever occurred there, he's gone. Again, this title depends on the timeline of his departure, whether they can remove him. They did it to Ryback last year, but it also depends on how involved they are in the game. They may be including a major storyline in, say, the My Career mode, which they may not be removable for. I think it was a couple of years ago they removed somebody who left, but they had to work with very difficult circumstances on replacing that character, as it was involved in a storyline on the My Career mode or whatever it was. So Austin Aries, we may see him in the game. I hope we do see him in the game, so we can have him wrestle at WrestleMania and continuing wrestle. Whether he'll come back to WWE, I'm not sure. Was it Thea Trinidad? His fiance is just signed with WWE, so that puts her in a bit of a good position, a weird position anyway. Big Boss Man, Big Show. Again, I don't like to see multi-variations of a lot of wrestlers, but there's not many people. Freebirds, I think, may very well carry on to the next game. Again, I don't like variations of different legends and different wrestlers. Again, I feel that those slots, can be given to a modern, contemporary roster member. Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows will certainly be in the game, doing very well in WWE right now. Goldberg, I kind of missed him, but I think he'll certainly be in the game, Universal Champion and all of that stuff that he was. I think he'll probably most likely, he was the pre-order bonus last year, same as Kurt Angle is this year, so I think he will most likely be in the game as well. Again, Von Erichs, I'd love to see the whole lot of Von Erichs being in the game, although I did say about cutting back on the Legends. Can't see it happening. Luke Gallows, again, the Freebirds. Mojo Rawley, Nia Jax, again, two people that will be included in the roster because of their standing in the main roster. Nakamura's the other one from the DLC that's also going to be involved due to their standing. He's on the SmackDown roster. There is no question that he will not of his involvement in WWE 2K18. Tatanka is one of the legends who, certainly Tatanka has been pretty much saying on social media that he is in WWE 2K18. Nothing has been confirmed at all when it comes to the roster, but he's been pretty much saying on social media that he is included in WWE 2K18, although he hasn't officially said it because he's not really allowed to, but he has been saying that, so I believe he will be in the game. Ty Dillinger, I think the last one, that will certainly be in the roster, in the game, because of his standing on the main roster these days. So that is the WWE 2K17 roster. Look at who will, might, and probably not be in WWE 2K18. Not a huge list of people who might not or will not be in the game. As I said, a lot of this roster will just simply be transferred to WWE 2K18. As I said, the usual ones, the Baileys, the Becky Lynches, the big cast, the Enzo Amores, the Shinsuke Nakamuras, all of those people I believe we will see in WWE 2K18 when we get to hear the roster, or however it is released next month. That is the rumour, that is when the roster is going to be revealed. We don't know exactly when as of this time, but I think the roster hopefully will, as I said, I want to see going forward 2K have a more contemporary, a more modern roster of those people on Raw, SmackDown, NXT, 205 Live. I want to see them concentrate on the modern male and female wrestlers in WWE. I think that would help improve the game. I think it would help grow the appeal. Whether we will see, sitting here doing this, it made me think whether we will see anybody from the Mae Young Classic in the game or as DLC. I kind of doubt, but I would love to see maybe perhaps people from the WWE UK Championship Tournament be DLC. We don't know, as I'm not really allowed to discuss anything like that. I doubt we would see any of those people in that. I'd love to see that, but certainly 2K18 promises the biggest roster by far of any previous WWE video game, and I look forward to seeing the roster at some point next month.